Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Cellar TV. So today what we're going to be trying is actually a lovely red wine from up in the northeast of Italy. It is from Maculan, is the producer here. So here's a little bit of a close-up for you, Maculan. And this is actually their Cabernet Sauvignon, which they've entitled the Palazzotto. And this is from the 2013 vintage, so it's pure Cabernet. Now what's really quite interesting is that up in this particular region, up in the northeast of Italy, generally speaking, they don't make too many full-bodied red wines. Most of the red wines that they make tend to be a little bit weak, in all honesty. Not in a bad way, I mean, they just tend to be lighter in the fact that they're not as big and full as far as tannins and alcohol and all the rest are concerned. And that's what makes this wine, in particular, quite interesting. Also, the fact is that Maculan, as a producer, they make a whole raft of wines, but they're actually known quite famously for their sweet wines, and so they make a couple of sweet wines, including the Dintorello, which is one of the more famous sort of Passito styled sweet wines from all of Italy, which is quite exciting. Anywho, so this is their Cabernet Sauvignon, and then this has only quite recently been in the country here in New Zealand, and so we're quite excited to try it. Now this particular wine is, I thought was quite interesting, it's actually 14%, but when we try it in a second you'll find out that it really does not feel like 14%. You can often get quite a few sort of Australian Cabernets or Shirazes and all the rest, which are 14 or more percent, and they do feel it, they're hot, they're heavy and all the rest, but this is actually very, very well balanced, got a lot of fruit concentration, a lot of fruit ripeness, which sort of soaks up all that sort of booze, if you will, and it just feels fresh and fruity and really, really ripe and concentrated on the palate, as opposed to feeling hot and heavy and sort of burdensome with tannin. This is just a really, really lovely and interesting and slightly different expression to sort of your classic Cabernet Sauvignon. So on the nose, it is completely pure Cabernet Sauvignon, and it has that absolutely delicious thing that I really, really love about a nice, beautiful Cabernet, is that it's got a beautiful balance of sort of lavender fruit flavors and those sort of really rich, beautiful purple rose and sort of red rose characteristics, as well as that lovely sort of concentrated blackberry essence, that sort of cassis on speed aspect to it as well, but also just a hint, just a waft of it, of sort of beautiful pure cocoa powder or sort of freshly grated dark chocolate. It just has all of that going for it, and it's just delicious. I mean, we actually opened this up and decanted it, oh goodness, I don't know, say about 2 hours ago, just because I like to really decant wines, because you just get so much more from the wines themselves. And if you are paying a bit of penny, pretty penny to get a bottle of wine, you do want to make sure that you do get the most out of it, because that's what it's all there for. I mean, the winemaker wouldn't put so much time and effort into making a wine that you're not going to get all of it out of it, so you may as well try and get all the flavors and all these sort of interesting and exciting sense messages that the winemaker is sending to you. Anyhow, so back to the tasting note. I digressed slightly there, as you noticed. So there's loads of plums, beautiful sort of damson fruit flavors, and as I said, lots of blackberry, lots of sort of blackcurrant and cassis on the nose, and that beautiful, beautiful sort of what I can only imagine sort of chocolate dipped lavender would smell like. That's exactly what this sort of smells like. It's delicious, and it's fantastic because it's a little bit more ripe than your classic Bordeaux, but you can definitely get that there, so you can sort of understand this claret aspect to it, but it is, as I said, a little bit more sort of warmer, riper, so it's not as big and opulent and juicy as sort of a Napa or a Californian Cabernet or something like that from Australia either, but it's a little bit more warm, a little bit more fruity, and not necessarily as austere as some Bordeaux claret can be. This is a nice sort of middle ground, which I absolutely love. Anyway, let's give it a little taste. On the palate, surprisingly soft, good acidity. So on the palate, I have to say it's actually a lot more akin to your classic Bordeaux, in the way that it does have that sort of nice, beautiful acidity that runs down your palate there, as well as sort of the tannins, which it's interesting really, because if you can think of your tasting note on your palate anyway, as having sort of acidity as the wine rolls down your tongue, and then sort of tannin and oak and fruit concentration, which sort of brings it right back down to the front of your tongue, and then it sort of just trembles on back again with some beautiful sort of this lovely plush plum and damson and currant sort of fruit flavors. Just little hints, little messages in sort of the darkness of little whispers of chocolate and sort of vanilla and sort of grilled herbs and all these sort of lovely other sorts of things just flickering along your palate there, and just absolutely fantastic. So as I say, on the palate, a lot more sort of Bordeaux Cabernet sort of style. On the nose, perhaps a little bit more sort of fruity, a little bit more fruit forward, like a sort of New World sort of Cabernet from California or something like this. But again, doesn't feel hot at all, and those flavors are just lingering. For me, it's not so much oak flavors that are lingering, it's a lot more sort of that beautiful sort of dried blackcurrant, a little bit of that sort of freeze-dried blackberry powder sort of on the finish there. It's lovely, it's soft, the tannins are not chewy or anything else like this, they're not aggressive whatsoever. Very, very little oak tannin here, but there's definitely oak in the wine here. Yes, it's just delicious. And what I really, really like about this is that since it is so just as world-class, really, it really, really is, it's utterly delicious. And it doesn't break the bank as far as top-end quality Cabernet Sauvignon goes, and it's also a nice point of difference. If you would think of something of this quality coming out of California, generally speaking, well, here in New Zealand anywho, you'd probably be paying, I don't know, $60 to $70, whereas I think this is about $45, $50 on our website, which is honestly a bit of a steal. Now, it's not a massive jump, but it's utterly fantastic. Yes, anyway, it really, really is. So I do implore you to both check out their Maculan, their Cabernet Sauvignon here, or the link, as I said, will be down below, and also their other wines, their sweet wines, especially the Torquelato or the Dindarello, both of which are beautiful, beautiful Recchiotto styled, or Passito styled, I should say, not Recchiotto, styled sweet wines there. Well, we've both got them both up online, and again, very, very sort of good value wines as well. So anyway, this has been the Cellar TV. I've been Connal Finlay. Cheers.